We'll see what you think of the top 10 list.
I know I didn't look at it.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes.
Okay.
Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
All right, we're back for another day here on the Morning Woodward Show live. WoodwardSports.com, as always. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, and Gabrielle D. Phillips. Fair?
Fair.
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to be a fun show today, guys. I mean, my goodness, the action we saw across the NBA last night, the NHL. God, you can't ask for more as a sports fan. How about Joe Pavelski? Coming off an injury, first game back, 4 goals, and damn it, they still found a way to lose. Come on, Dallas. Awful, awful, awful. Toronto, of course, losing. What else is new? But it was a fun night. It was a fun night. The Heat gave the Knicks a really good battle without Jimmy Butler. And then he had the Lakers-Warriors game, which was absolutely a thriller, worth staying up for. But look, we're going to have a fun show today. What we got lined up is at 8:15. We'll go through the top 10 teams in the NFC. At 8:30, I want to revisit Brad Holmes. And I would like to just be the bearer of information, whether you like it or not. It's the information. It is what it is. Take it how you will. All right? We're not going to get personal this morning, but hey, we'll have the conversation about the draft, positional value, whether it was right, wrong, Brad Holmes' comments on the positional value, not caring, etc., etc. 8:45, we will take callers on both the Brad Holmes segment and where you believe the Lions should be ranked in the NFC. At 8:45, 9 o'clock, do you believe Jared Goff? Excuse me, do you believe in Jared Goff? And what is the concern here? All right, what conversations are we having? Why do I keep hearing 50 million, 60 million, franchise quarterback, and why do I keep hearing bum, can't throw the football, loser, 12%? I keep hearing this, right? So I want to have an honest conversation about Goff at 9 o'clock. At 9:15, we'll take calls again on Jared Goff. 9:30, we'll revisit the top 10 teams in the NFC after we've gotten your feedback. And at 9:40, we got to talk about the Detroit Tigers actually today. And not the current team, because they fucking suck. Okay? We're going to go down, take a trip down memory lane today with Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, Jim Leland, Dave Dombrowski, the good old days. And remind ourselves that, yes, life can be worse and to enjoy the moments, because it absolutely sucks right now if you're a Tigers fan. Anyways.
I couldn't believe you were going to give them a whole 15-minute segment.
Oh, yeah, that's why I pushed them to 9:40. They're only getting 9 minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm curious.
That was intentional.
Yep.
Nothing more than ever. The Tigers will never have a 15-minute segment on this show unless they are a 95-plus win ball club.
Okay. I thought you were just going to finish it. Never.
Oh, never.
Okay.
Never.
There's some hope.
A little bit of hope. I don't know.
Slim.
Hey, there's progress. I mean, you're giving them 9 minutes. Like, that's...
I'm a fair human.
Yeah, that's progress.
If I was governing a country or a city back in the 1500s, I would be a very merciful guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how many beheadings I would have prevented?
Okay. All right, well, giving a segment 9 minutes.
Alavila to the block. Sorry.
9 minutes. 9 minutes.
But Joel Zumaya, we love Joel Zumaya, right? Somebody's got to get their head cut off every once in a while to maintain order, okay? So let's start with the NBA playoffs.
Sacrificial lamb.
Let's start with the playoffs. Let's have some fun. My goodness, I think the game that we only should and want to talk about is the Warriors-Lakers. It's going to be a great series. Can't wait to hear who you think wins this series. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to do that yesterday, but
Yeah.
it was everything you thought it would be. The Lakers did what they were supposed to do to win. I don't know how sustainable 30 and 25 from AD is, but they were really good. I thought the Warriors were really bad, and they still somehow found themselves in the game, which I guess you could take as a positive. But overall, Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, Anthony Davis really controlling the game for the Lakers, and then LeBron picked his spots, picked his moments, but it wasn't the typical playoff LeBron, I'm taking over. It was actually very passive-aggressive from him. So I love the game. I enjoyed it. I love the 14-0 run. I think Jordan Poole is an idiot this morning. I won't chastise him like most for taking the shot. It's a shot he's made in the game before. I don't think he's Klay Thompson or Steph Curry, but you know what? With that amount of time left on the clock, I can't fault a shooter who was open taking that shot. The Lakers did the right thing. They doubled Steph like they did most of the night, and it paid off.
Yeah, Jordan Poole took a 26-foot shot with 4 seconds remaining after, he missed the shot anyway, which, again, it's fine. The Warriors, I believe, will still bounce back next game. I don't think they'll go down 2-0 at home. But it was a great win by the Lakers. To go into Golden State and beat the defending champs. And again, like even LeBron, you talk about AD and his performance. Is it sustainable? Well, I'll tell you one thing. LeBron playing the way he played is not going to, that's going to change too. He's not going to shoot 9 for 24 next game. So although AD had an extremely good game, 30, 23 rebounds, 4 blocks, he was dominant, which I kind of assumed going in. We didn't really get to it yesterday, but talking to people around the office, I knew AD. This was his series. Now, whether
they have nobody to guard him.
They have nobody. Kevon Looney's solid, but realistically, matchup-wise, AD he's a freak of nature. Now, will he hold up in regards to his health? That's a great question, and that's something that we're going to have to, that's kind of to be determined. But the Lakers as a whole, they shot 24% from 3, and they snuck out with a win. That's impressive. The free throw, getting to the free throw line was the difference. And I know people, if you're defending Golden State, the big argument was, 25 of 29 free throws to
I don't think that's fair.
5
you
of
can't
6.
say that.
I would agree, but that is something that I've been seeing on social media too.
Golden State didn't attack the basket. That's why they didn't have any free throws.
Yeah,
they refused to because of Anthony Davis, which, again, we'll see how they adjust, whether or not they're going to commit to attacking the basket. But whenever they did, he was there to block it, and so was LeBron James. They have to shoot the series. This is a different type of series. I think the Lakers are a more difficult matchup than Sacramento. They're going to make a shooting team beat you by shooting, and they're not going to give you anything easy. You saw a lot of mid-range, really 20-foot shots just to get a 2-point basket. The Lakers are making it difficult.
Right.
I don't think offensively the Lakers will be as productive as they were last night, though. Continuing on, AD, I don't think they have an answer for him, but I do believe they can guard D'Lo and Reeves and Schroeder much better than they did in Game 1. They were the fresher team. They won. Credit to the Lakers. They did a hell of a job. I thought the Lakers played one of their better games, and the Warriors played one of their worst games. No defensive intensity at all from Golden State. And you know what? I know Steve Kerr was doing his best to rotate guys in and give his guys a break, but LeBron James finished with a negative plus-minus. Steph Curry and Klay a positive. You got to find a way to keep them on the court for 2-3 more minutes. Could have been the difference. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Oh, well. We'll see how they adjust, but Anthony Davis played the entire second half.
Yeah, he played 44 minutes.
They were not taking a chance.
Yeah.
And you know what? Good on them. And Golden State has a problem when Looney isn't on the court. Because when AD's out there, I don't care if Draymond is one of the better defenders in the league. It's a total mismatch.
Yeah, they don't have a backup center. And again, they move Draymond, they slide him to the 5. Kevon Looney's their only true big man. And even then, AD physically is much bigger, longer. Like, AD's a mismatch. Again, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say the Lakers in 6. I still believe that. Or 7. I think this series will be stretched out. But if you look at since the All-Star break, and I think people, when they think of this Lakers team, they think of the Westbrook, LeBron, AD Lakers. This team traded about 6 players at the deadline. They brought in 6 new players. Like, this team is way different. And if you look at the record since the trade deadline, they're one of the better teams.
Best record in the NBA.
21-9, I believe, if I'm going off the top of my head. So, again, people judging this Lakers team from what they were before the trade deadline, it's not the same team. So, again, Will the Lakers win a championship? I still think Denver's coming out of the West. But again, in this specific series, Golden State, you're down 1-0 at home. I know, Golden State's a team where even if they go down 2-0, they're still Golden State.
You can't go down 2-0
No.
to this team. I think the Lakers play really good defense. I think that's the strength of this team. Austin Reeves, Vanderbilt. Look, when we say lockdown people, there's no such thing. There aren't any lockdown defenders in the NBA anymore. But he made Steph really work, especially in the second and third quarter where he wasn't really scoring at all.
Right.
He made him really work. I love that matchup. But you saw the answer to that matchup down the stretch. Just put the fucking ball in his hand, and nobody can guard him.
Right.
Instead of making him run off ball where he's going to run through screens and everybody can switch, put it in Steph's hands. And I think that's your answer to Vanderbilt and the whole idea of Anthony Davis staying really low in the paint. You're going to get a lot of open 3 looks. That's the strategy for Golden State. We'll see how it plays out. We'll take a break. When we get back, the top 10 teams in the NFC. Where do the Lions rank on the list this morning? I like to believe I'm correct on this. Maybe I'm wrong. But we'll get to all of you. We'll get your thoughts on it. Are they too high, too low? All that and more coming up. But before we do, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today. Home of the $10 a month gym. There's no better time to sign up than now. PlanetFitness.com. Your fitness is essential. Get to a local Planet Fitness near you or sign up by, of course, going to PlanetFitness.com. Guys, get started. Go to the gym. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting my time. Get to the gym. Take care of yourself. You'll thank me later. Planet Fitness. We'll see you right after the break.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. If you're watching at woodwardsports.com, thanks for checking out the website. Be sure to read some of our great articles and always keep updated on our shop. We've got lots of new stuff coming in the upcoming week. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you're listening after the fact, download the podcast and leave us a 5-star review. Please. Thanks.
I love it. I love it. We're back. Jeff, top 10 teams in the NFC. Where do the Lions rank after the draft? You know how I felt about this team leading up to the draft.
And I've not seen this list. This is
going to be your first time, so I can't wait. But I think after the draft, and we'll get more to this at 8:30, I think there are some teams in the NFC that just had really good drafts. I think you could look at the Eagles, who were already above the Lions, but I think they cemented their place at the top of this list. You look at a team like Seattle. Seattle had another phenomenal draft. Phenomenal draft. Devin Witherspoon, JSN. Seattle just continues to draft really well. And you know what? Before we even get to the list, I want to apologize because I was wrong. When the Pete Carroll-Russell Wilson breakup happened, I questioned how you break up from a franchise quarterback and you choose the coach over him, given that they were just losing. Pete Carroll, reminding everybody he's still a very capable coach in the NFL. Got to give John Schneider a ton of credit and how they've handled themselves post-Russell Wilson trade to go out and win last year and make the playoffs and now double down in not only free agency but in the draft with a lot of talent. Seattle really winning a lot of hearts. I got to give them a ton of credit. But let's start with the list. We'll start with number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles, Jeff. This is a no-brainer. The returning, defending NFC champions. You can't debate whether or not the Eagles shouldn't be number 1. I think number 2, and the team that you have to just say it's the truth. The Niners have gotten better. They got John Hargraves. They've made significant upgrades. The problem with the Niners is what's going on with Brock Purdy? What's Trey Lance going to look like? We like to believe Brock Purdy is the starter, but what does any of that mean? And look, I really considered putting Seattle here at 3. I really did.
Wow.
I really wanted to put Seattle at 3, but I've got the better quarterback. I think roster to roster, I don't blame anybody giving Seattle the advantage or Detroit. I can make cases for both. To me, it's dead even. And yes, they have the more proven coach, but I do like Jared Goff much more than Geno Smith. That's going to be the difference maker for me. Lions are going to be at 3 in this scenario. I think they had a good draft. I don't like where Jahmyr Gibbs was picked. I mean, you know how I feel about that. But the reality is they got 4 quality football players in the first 2 rounds.
Right.
They drafted a potential future backup, future starter maybe in the NFL in the 3rd round in Hendon Hooker. No pressure there. I think the Lions overall had a good draft. We'll talk about positional value and what that means coming up in the next segment. But I think they're the 3rd best team in the NFC. I don't think they have an excuse at all this year. And if I'm being honest with you, there's a huge gap after 4. Seattle, I think, narrowly, just behind Detroit. And I wouldn't be mad at anybody that had Seattle ahead of Detroit. That's really what I think of Seattle. I think they're a very good team, only getting better. Seattle are going to sit there at 4 for me for all the reasons I've already explained. And then we get into this weird area where it's just a bunch of teams. I don't buy any stock into the Dallas Cowboys. I don't. I never have, and I never will. I just can't do it. Mike McCarthy's their coach. Dak Prescott is their quarterback. I'm sure they'll win 10 games this year, and that's about it. I don't have much confidence in them. A team I have a lot of confidence in is the New York Giants. Deontay Banks, the work they did in the draft. Re-signing Daniel Jones, not my favorite move. We'll see what they do with Saquon, but this is a football team that is getting better. And hopefully that talent that they're investing in, Jeff, gets closer to where the level of their head coaches, who, by the way, defending coach of the year, where Brian Dable is. And the closer they get, the better this team will get. I have them 6th on my list. 7th, for the only reason that Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, and Cooper Kupp are on the team. And now healthy, those 3, along with a very good coach in Sean McVay. They had a ton of draft picks. Yes, no first-round picks, but they've really, really brought a lot of depth to this team. I think they'll have a much better answer for their offensive line struggles this year. I expect LA to at least be in the wild card hunt this year. I don't expect them to contend for the division. And then you get to the New Orleans Saints, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints and Falcons, to me, are the favorites to win that division. I think they're 1A and B. That's not saying much considering how shit that division is, but I think the Saints have the best quarterback in the division. Atlanta got the best running back, and we'll see how that pans out for them. Wearing number 7, by the way. How do you not love Beydoun Robinson after that? Can't wait to hear what you think of that. But Minnesota at number 9. What do you want me to say? Hey, Minnesota, great job. You went out and hired Brian Flores. That's your marquee offseason move after winning 13 games. Go fuck yourself, Minnesota. I have 0 confidence in Minnesota, 0 confidence in Green Bay. Hell, I have more confidence in Chicago than I do in Minnesota right now. And I really like Kevin O'Connell. But they did nothing to address the defense. They've lost Adam Thielen. Good luck. Enjoy, Minnesota. Enjoy. You're lucky to win 9 games this year. That's my ceiling for Minnesota. If they win 9 games, I'd be impressed, Jeff. What do you think of the list?
So, I have one question for you.
Go for it.
I see Atlanta made your top 10.
Yep.
Why Atlanta over Carolina?
I trust the coach more. I think Arthur Smith, really since he's taken over, they've been an average team because they've had an average roster. This is a team that's upgraded their secondary. Jesse Bates coming into town. They traded for Jeff Okudah, whatever. But they've addressed the defensive line. They have Grady Jarrett. They have good linebackers. This is a defense that's going to be better this year. Hopefully Kyle Pitts returns and gives you 70% of what you thought he'd be. So that's going to be a big thing for their offense. You're going to have now Beydoun Robinson, Tyler Algier in the backfield. You're going to have Drake London going into year 2. This is a good football team. I think a very balanced football team. And I like to think Arthur Smith is going to coach his way into 9-8, 8-9, and that's probably enough to win the division again this year.
So I see where you're coming from. I think that's fair, especially if you feel that way about Arthur Smith. But I could make an argument, and this is probably – I have a couple things that I want to bring up. But the first one is Atlanta. Could I argue that Carolina – you talk about quarterback. We could probably give it to Carolina. I would say Bryce is better than Desmond Ridder. I mean, unless you want to go Desmond Ridder, that's on you. If you want to go that route, I would go Bryce Young. If we talk about, offense, what they have.
Is Ridder starting or Heineke? That would be my
Either way, I think Bryce is better than either of them, to be honest with you.
Fine, I'll give you that.
But he's a number one pick. He should be, if we're being honest. With Carolina, I know what they have defensively. Like, there's no, Atlanta should be better. No, I know Carolina this year will be one of the best defenses in the NFC. They always are. So, defensively, we know they're better. Frank Reich, as much as you want to say about Frank, he can win games. I mean, he's inconsistent over the last couple of years with the Colts, but again, he's never had the quarterback position figured out. Now they have it. At least with Bryce, you expect them. So that's probably my biggest. I would probably put Carolina over Atlanta. I'm not mad you have Atlanta, especially if you feel that way about what they've done. They added Beydoun. Their offense is explosive. You assume their defense is going to improve. I would probably lean Atlanta, but Seattle at, what was that, 4?
4.
Over the Cowboys.
Is that a problem, or do you think they should be lower, higher?
No, it's not that I think they should be significantly lower. I'm trying to digest that over the Cowboys. And listen, if you want to, talk about the Cowboys and crap all over the Cowboys, I have no issue with that. But if we're just talking strictly, post-draft, roster.
Seattle, I would rank them, again, like I said, I think you can make the case Seattle has the best roster in the NFC outside of the Niners and the Eagles. I think that's a legitimate case anybody can make. I wouldn't be mad at them. That's why I have them so high. What did Dallas do that was so impressive in the draft,
Nothing.
let alone free agency?
That's why you didn't hear about them the entire draft.
What is it?
That's why you didn't hear about them the entire draft. They didn't do anything.
The only good thing they did was draft Deuce Vaughn.
But also, Dallas is picking 26, so they're winning games. Like, Seattle, of course, they had Denver's pick.
That's great.
So Dallas is still like. If you're basing this list off postseason success? Yeah, Dallas is still going to win 12 games this year. Like I mean,
Seahawks won as many playoff games as the Cowboys did last year.
Well, again, if
Lions have been to as many NFC championships since 2000 as the Cowboys.
If you're talking about postseason success, then yes. I mean, I'm going to make fun of the Cowboys.
Why would I buy stock?
But who's a better team if we're going unit by unit?
I think you can argue Seattle over Dallas easily.
So let's go then.
Okay, secondary.
Secondary.
Tariq Woolen, now Devin Witherspoon, and an already established safety position.
Okay, but
what? Don't say his name. Don't do it. What? Trayvon Diggs?
It's not even just Trayvon. They added Stephon Gilmore this offseason. Like, is he
an aging?
Is he
corner.
hot garbage? Okay,
I mean, he's 33, 34.
I'm just saying. So if you want to take a rookie and
am I getting
Tariq
New England
Woolen,
Stephon Gilmore? I'll give you that. I don't think I'm getting that though.
No, he's not New England Stephon Gilmore, but he's still something. He still has something left in the tank. Stephon could still be not elite, but a good cornerback. We'll go defensive line. I'm giving that no question to the Dallas Cowboys.
I'll give you that.
Offensive line, I think that's a toss-up. Dallas has a really good offensive line. Quarterback, I'm giving it to Dallas. Backfield, okay, you want to go Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, I can make a case. I mean, in the short, you talk about carries, Tony Pollard was underutilized, and he still produced. So, I mean, wide receivers, I would probably give you Seattle. I mean, even though they got CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, like they got a pretty good,
Seattle's got
wide
DK,
receivers.
Tyler Lockett, and JSN.
So I'll give you that.
And they drafted Zach Charbonnet.
No, and I'll give you that, but keep going. We'll go linebackers.
Fair to say.
You see what I'm saying? Like, as you go through the rosters, I'm going to give the edge to Dallas there. Even though I get what you're saying, Seattle had a hell of a draft, and they got better, but how much better? Are they significantly better than the Cowboys or one spot above? I don't think so. I think they're still a top 5 team in the NFC.
Well, let's look at the win total last year. How many games did Dallas win? 11?
Yes, they did.
11-6, right? Seattle was a 9-8 football team. Now let's look at Dallas having to play Washington and the Giants twice compared to Seattle having to play the Rams twice, the Niners twice, and the, I'm forgetting them, Cardinals twice.
Mm-hmm.
Tough division. Very difficult division. Look, I get it, but there are 2 teams I think that just got significantly better. Did the Cowboys have a better offseason and draft? Let me ask you this. Did they have a better offseason and draft than the Lions?
No.
Okay, did they have a better offseason and draft than the Seahawks? And this is where my problem is. I watched the Detroit Lions go out and get C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton, David Montgomery, re-sign some players, and then have the draft they just did, which is dividing the fan base at the moment, but that's not my problem right now. We'll get to that in 5 minutes. I watched Seattle get Devin Witherspoon, who the Lions wanted, by the way, and they would have taken at 6. I watched them get Jackson Smith and Jimba, arguably the best receiver coming out of this draft class. And they kind of hinted at how weak this wide receiving draft class was because of how many were taken and where they were taken. This wasn't last year with Olave, Garrett Wilson, James Williams, Drake London, Jahan Dotson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not. That wasn't this year, and they addressed it. You had Devon Witherspoon with Tariq Woolen. You give Geno Smith another weapon. You had Zach Charbonnet for depth in case Kenneth Walker goes down.
Yeah, they had a good draft.
Goodness.
They did.
I think the Lions and Seahawks with the Eagles, those are the 3 teams I think had the best offseason in the NFC, and that's why I have them so high on my list.
Yeah, and again, the Cowboys, through the draft, I mean, Mozzie Smith in the first round, you really go through it. They didn't have the most impressive draft.
The Dallas Wolverines.
But the
that's
offseason,
what we call them.
Yeah, no, definitely. But if you look at just the offseason, I mean, they added Brandon Cooks. They added Stephon Gilmore. Like, it's not like they did
That's
nothing.
fine.
They
So
got
they
better.
averaged-
The Cowboys got better this
added,
offseason.
like, marginally better players,
Yes.
right? They made marginal upgrades.
Yeah.
And that's fair. And I think for a good team, that's a big deal, right? That can be the difference between being good and great.
But
I don't believe in them at all.
No,
Right?
I'm not saying
and
I
I
do
think
either.
that plays a big role in this list.
Yeah.
And Seattle just went from good, and they made significant upgrades, and they're now, I think, at the level of a Dallas. Just like I think Detroit is at the level of a Dallas. I don't know how. If I'm in a toss-up game, I got to bet money. Am I picking the Lions or the Cowboys in a head-to-head matchup right now, today? Fully healthy teams, I'm
Yeah.
going with the Lions.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I would do the same with the Seahawks. I wouldn't blink twice.
The one question I cannot wait to get answered this season is Geno Smith. Like, it was last year, because I've seen people talk about the quarterback position, Geno versus Dak. And listen, Dak had a terrible year last year. But please, guys, to say Geno Smith is better than Dak, I mean,
Dak Prescott's he's a black Kirk Cousins. Slash Ryan Tannehill.
But to say Geno Smith is better than Dak,
that's not saying
last
much.
year,
I mean, what are we saying?
No, but that's okay. Let's. My big question
That's
I want
like
to get
saying
answered is what
shit tastes better
what
than
does Geno
manure.
Smith do this year? If he has another year like he did last year, I'll shut up and give him all the credit.
Well,
but again, and he should.
What do you want them to do?
You had JSN, you got DK, you got Lockett, you got Kenneth Walker. He has pieces, but I've only seen 1 year of Geno.
That's
again,
great. I don't know what I've seen from Dak.
I've seen 5 years of productivity.
Of what? Statistical productivity?
I'm not. Again, we're talking about the better player, Adam. You're talking about postseason. Again, if you want to talk about that, I agree. But that's not act like Dak 2 years ago didn't throw 37 touchdowns and 10 picks. Like, what are we doing here? Like, the guy isn't some again.
I'm not
last
saying
year,
he's a scrub. I've seen Ryan Tannehill throw 33 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in a year.
Right.
I've seen Kirk throw 34 and 7.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And I think those guys
I think Dak Prescott is an overrated quarterback. I don't think he's anywhere near top 10 material. To me, he's a guy, when you consider him in the top 10, it's because of circumstance. And I don't see it. Not that Geno Smith is any better. He's not. And that's the problem with what the Eagles have and everybody else in the NFC.
Yeah,
because the Eagles have the guy, and everybody else really wishes they did.
Has a guy.
A guy, and then you can look at Bryce Young, who's a rookie, and say, hopefully he can be the guy, but can't even say anything. He hasn't played a game of football in the NFL yet. But we'll take a break. When we get back, Brad Holmes is taking a calculated risk, okay? And I think most of you by now are either on board or are still very, very upset, okay? So I'd like to have a conversation. And please hear me out. Please understand, I'm not making the case for or against Brad Holmes. I'm just going to present you with the data. And you guys give me feedback, and then I will share what I believe we should make of this draft. Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, etc., etc., etc. All that and more next, but before we do, scan the QR code that you're about to see on your screen, guys. I'll tell you about my good friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. There's no better treat then a beautiful, delicious lunch from Cousins Maine Lobster. Scan the QR code, find out where their food trucks are, and try their lobster tacos along with the clam chowder soup, especially on a cold day in Michigan. You'll thank me later, and if you're feeling, a little heavy and you're trying to get that Lizzo body, add 2 sides of tots while you're at it. We'll be right back.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. If you're watching at woodwardsports.com, thanks for checking out the website. Why don't you go and check out some articles too while you're at it? If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening via podcast, whatever podcast platform you listen on, be sure to download and leave us a 5-star review.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Adam,
We're
where
back.
do you listen to your podcasts? Where do you listen to your podcasts?
Me, I'm a Spotify guy, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to make the transition to Apple Podcasts.
Really?
Yeah.
As you should.
Well, Apple Music, whatever you want to call it, but yeah.
Come to Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, I got to go to the dark side. Spotify's starting to piss me off, so. Yeah. The recommended feed is awful. They're getting shit. The only good thing I get every year is I find out how much of a bad habit I have of listening to too much music.
Yep.
And then I sit there and say, holy shit, I spent this many hours listening to music.
Yep.
What am I doing with my life? So you know what? They're not helping me at all. We're going to move on.
But it's not like you sit there and stare at your screen while you're listening to the music.
Of
You can be
course
doing
not,
other
but still,
things.
it's like a what the F reminder of I have a problem. I listen to too much
Listen,
music.
Spotify just has Joe Rogan. All right, yeah, and I'm not coming down from this mountain. So other than that, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, I'm not going to debate you on that. This is like the classic iPhone Android debate. I'm not going to do it. Look, Brad Holmes has come out. He's spoken now eloquently, by the way, very well spoken. Come out and said essentially, I don't care about public perception, and I think the public will be more open-minded to what I've done once they've seen the players on the field. I think that's a fair thing for a GM to say, but there's been a lot of questions after day one of the NFL draft, the first round, a team taking a running back at 12, a linebacker at 18. It doesn't coincide with traditional positional value. And I'm not here to tell you what I think of Brad Holmes. You guys know what I think of Brad Holmes. I think he's phenomenal. I'm not here to tell you that he's right or wrong. I'm just here to present you with all the information that I have on what Brad Holmes has done and what history tells us. And I want to credit Jeremy Fowler for this and his production team. They dug up this data since 2009. Between 2009 and 2018, there have been 17 running backs, 23 linebackers, and 8 tight ends. A total of 48 players in those 3 position groups drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. 13 of those 48 were considered hits. And those are individuals that earned a second contract, not necessarily the 5th-year option, but they earned an extension, a second contract with their respective teams. The hit rate on those running backs, linebackers, tight ends, respectively in this order, is 29%, 26%, and 25%. All 3 are at the bottom of the list compared to every other position in football. These positions also accounted for individually the fewest amount of hits in totality. So running back, linebacker, tight end, in that order were basically 8, 9, and 10, bottom 3 on the list of positional value, positional groups in that 9-10 year span, Jeff. So yeah, NFL fans, Lions fans at home, we've been programmed and told by the NFL for the last 10, 15 years that drafting a running back, a linebacker, or a tight end in the first round is absolutely unacceptable. It just doesn't work. It's more likely to fail than succeed. And to Brad Holmes' point, he drafted players that Lions fans just either didn't expect, but they'll be able to see on the field day one. And he believes that once you see these players on the field, you're your opinion will change. You'll be more open-minded. You'll understand why he took the players he did. And you know what? I can get behind that. Because the truth is, nobody hits on every draft pick. And I'm not going to sit here and hold Brad Holmes to a standard that just doesn't exist in the NFL. GMs miss. It happens. It's normal. Lions fans have been very blessed that they've had a GM who has such a high hit rate at the moment that this almost feels like the norm now. But it isn't. But the greatest nullifier for any of this data that suggests drafting a running back, tight end, linebacker in the first round is garbage. The ultimate nullifier is on the field success. Brad Holmes alluded to this. This is the ultimate. My cards are on the table, guys. This is who I took. Look at our record. Jahmyr Gibbs comes out as a good player, but the Lions win 6 games. You're not going to be happy. If Jack Campbell is a decent linebacker and you finish with a 22nd ranked defense, you're not going to be happy. But if Jahmyr Gibbs comes out and is productive, and Jack Campbell comes out and is one of your 4 best players on defense, and you finish with a top 15, top 18 defense, and you win 11 games and you win the division, well, I think that shuts a lot of people up. And I think those players can be the exception to this rule because I have data, right? Data suggests 29% of the time running backs work out and earn a second contract. And they hit, meaning they're productive in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs very well could be part of that 29%, and maybe he increases it to 30, 31. Who knows?
Right.
That's great. But can we not kill everybody that was shocked or came in on a Friday morning or on a Thursday night and were like, what the fuck is going on? Because for 15 years now, we have seen year after year after year that this doesn't work. More often than not. It just doesn't work. 71% of the time you take a running back in the draft, you regret it. 74% of the time you take a linebacker in the first round, you regret it. 75% of the time you take a tight end in the first round, you regret it. That's just the reality. So you tell me, Jeff.
And before I go, I sent Alex the graphic you're talking about because I want for people to have context. So, Alex, you throw this up. There you go. There's the entire graphic, all those different positions in the first round, the hit rate versus how many were taken total. And as you can see, what Adam's referring to is the bottom there, running back, linebacker, tight end, 29%, 26%, and 25% for people listening via podcast. And the one question I have, too, is based off this list, Adam, could I argue that taking a wide receiver in the first round isn't that smart either? Because it's only 3% more likely.
No, because as many wide receivers have hit as all 3 positions combined. And that's why they're taken more.
It's taken more often.
That's the problem, is running backs are taken less often than even guards, safeties, defensive tackles. Linebackers are taken less often than wide receivers, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, corners, edge, offensive linemen. Tight ends, it's not even a debate. Only centers are taken as few times in the first round as tight ends. That's the point. Yeah, you can argue the percentage. It's not about the percentage. Teams are literally telling you, by definition, this is not the move. We don't typically do this. And when we do, it better be for a guy that's going to hit, and the odds even then aren't the greatest.
Yeah.
That's the point. And there's only 12 of them were selected in the last 10 years.
And again, a lot of this depends on, number one, who's taking these players. I think that matters.
Of
What
course.
GM, of course, and how you're evaluating these players. And with Brad, at least in the last 2 years, he's had a pretty high hit rate in the first round. We'll see with J-Mo. But on top of that, what box would you put Jahmyr Gibbs in is probably the question. Because traditionally, yes, running backs typically, I mean, even Brad Holmes back in L.A., I mean, I know it was Les Snead, but they took Todd Gurley. He retired early, but the playoff success, to your point, not too many people were questioning the Todd Gurley pick. But again, technically he didn't. His career, if you talk about the length of it, wasn't ideal for a 9th overall pick, but they still had a lot of success.
Jahmyr Gibbs is an MVP candidate and leads the NFL in touchdowns.
And that's not my argument. What I'm saying is for Jahmyr, what box do you put him in? Because he's not just a running back, clearly. He's a hybrid. So is he a wide receiver? Is he a running back? He's gonna get snaps at both positions. So
yeah, we're on the same page with the player.
Yes.
But,
so that's why it's confusing when you say running back is a 29% hit rate. But Jahmyr
he's a running back.
He is. but he's not
If
going to
they
be
use him
utilized.
differently, that's
Of
fine.
course,
Debo Samuel's a wide receiver. How many times does he carry the ball? Do we call Debo a running back? No, we call him a wide receiver. So by definition, that's what they are. And my issue isn't even with Brad Holmes or the players. I actually don't have an issue right now. But where I'm getting at is we are so quick to throw away anybody who questions the draft picks. And we call them haters. Or we say, you don't believe in Brad Holmes. Or you don't believe in what they're doing. Or you're a Lions hater. Or you think they're going to suck this year. Or you just want to see them. No. Every Lions fan, including you, all of you that support it, have been conditioned for 15 years now by the NFL. And it tells you, hey, it doesn't work. Ezekiel Elliott came out of the box, out of the gate, leading the league in rushing for 2 straight years. Would you prefer Ezekiel Elliott, or should I go through the list of players that went near or after him that the Cowboys would have rather had on the roster that play different positions like edge or wide receiver or defensive tackle? That's the problem. Is even if Jahmyr Gibbs is good may not even be good enough to justify the pick. Let's say he's great. Awesome. And if he's great in the way we think he's going to be, which is more of a receiving back, excellent. I'm not going to complain. I'm just not going to shit on people who question the pick.
Right, and I'm not doing that either.
When it comes down to even Brad, though, Brad coming out and saying, yeah, look, you know what? People don't have all the information that we have, which is
fair.
legitimate and true.
Very fair.
But then also saying they don't put much stock into positional value. You know, that's a very, very gray area when you say we don't put much stock into that. And I'm paraphrasing here, but you want to be careful, because that list, that even that data graph, that chart that we showed you, is skewed by how many stupid teams there are in the NFL. You laugh at the wide receiver number. 38 are taken because they're the most important position. I don't look at the hits. I look at how many are taken. And if you go back to that list, you'll see edge, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, wide receivers, quarterbacks for a reason.
Yeah.
Because that's where the value is.
Yeah, for every 2 wide receivers, it's about a 1 running back in terms of the math and what they're doing. So, yeah, it's
17
double.
backs total in that 11-year span, 38 wide receivers. I mean, there's a reason for it. And that's all where I'm getting at this morning. It's not to say the Lions had a bad draft. I don't think they had a bad draft at all.
And
I
again,
think they have 4 day 1 starters.
To your point, for this pick to work out and to justify it as a hit, Jahmyr needs to be that all-around offensive weapon, which I do believe he will be. So, again, when you're trying to evaluate whether a player is a hit or a miss, that's probably the next thing I would like to know, too. Like, how do you classify a hit and a miss? Like, if Jahmyr's good, like, let's say I'm not saying he is banged up like DeAndre. Let's say he's majority healthy and he puts up.
Yeah, just give me the numbers. I'm down.
Let's say
I'm
he
down to
puts
have this
up
combo.
700-800 yards on the ground rushing and close to 1,000 receiving. Like, he's maybe not an 1,000 guy right away, but he's close.
I don't think he'll ever be 1,000
No, because
guy.
I mean, there's only a handful of guys that can do it, but still, he's close. He's a guy the Lions utilize. He's a weapon on offense.
Can I ask you a question then?
That's a hit.
And this is my way of answering it. If you don't accept the answer, then I'll try to find another way of answering it. But let me ask you this. Would you rather have had, and I'm only going to take players drafted in the top 20 for the sake of not doing implicit bias on, guys that were hindsight, that guys that were taken in 2nd, 3rd round that ended up being great.
Okay.
Would you rather have had Ezekiel Elliott or Jalen Ramsey?
Jalen Ramsey. I mean,
Would you rather have had Ezekiel Elliott or Ronnie Staley?
Ronnie Staley.
Would you rather? And this is, by the way, picks 5 and 6 of that draft.
I hate when you do this. You just prove your point by asking these questions that you already know the
because
answer
I don't want
to.
to sit there and say, like, Jahmyr Gibbs has to be this good for me. I like the player. I think he's going to be good.
I was going to say, because don't worry, because I'll address this after.
I'm talking about a leading rusher in the NFL multiple times. And even now you're looking back and saying, well, 1, we fucked up by paying him. 2, it was never worth it. Just in the top 10 alone, DeForest Buckner, Leonard Floyd. Those are 3-4 players I would take easily any day of the week over Ezekiel Elliott, who was drafted 4th overall.
Yeah.
I would have preferred Dallas to trade the 4th pick, a 2nd and a 3rd, to move up 1 spot and get Joey Bosa, for God's sake. So that's where the positional value argument, I hope that answered your question, because you're going to say, what does Jahmyr Gibbs need to do. It's not about Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
It's about the football team. If they go out on the if they go out on the field day one and they find success, and Laporta's contributing, which I think he will, and Gibbs is contributing, and I think they will, I don't think people are going to have a problem with it. Now, when it comes down to contract, well, that's 4 years from now. I don't want to think about that. That's a 4-year away conversation that we can have about whether or not you should pay this player. But that's the point. Also, it matters because you typically pay running backs for their past production more so than their future production. Absolutely. And that's the problem with the position, and that's why we always have these conversations about positional value, because it's never worth it. The guys that are worth a second contract are the edges, the interior linemen, offensive linemen, quarterbacks, receivers. I'm going to lose all my breath now.
And I think the other part of that, too, is instead of because Brad kind of brought this up at his press conference too, like putting guys in boxes. Like, for example, in that draft specifically with Zeke Elliott, you could go through, and it's very early for this draft, and we probably have to look back on it in about a year or two to really see, but you brought up a number of players that we know worked out. If you look at this draft and how it worked out this year, trading back to 12 and taking Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, I'm big on Jalen Carter, but there wasn't too many guys. Like, picking Jahmyr at 12, yes, would I have liked Christian Gonzalez? Sure, I would have liked Christian Gonzalez. But in 2 years, Jahmyr could be one of the better players in this top 15. So, again, and I think he's different, too, with what he brings compared to Zeke, who's a traditional bell cow back, who, like, those guys' lifespan, much shorter. So we'll see. I think Jahmyr can prove that in Detroit, because if he just produces, let's say he's getting over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, I'd probably say more than that, maybe 1,300 yards from scrimmage, and he doesn't get banged up, he's productive, he's reliable, then of course to me would be a hit. Especially when you're trading back from 6 to 12, the annual salary for that draft pick decreases. You still get the second best running back, and I respect Brad. I know when he says those things, I'm not high on positional value. He has a big board, and he just goes off of that. Jack Campbell at 18, Jahmyr at 12.
Can I ask you something?
So far, it's worked.
I'm going to give you the best case scenario.
I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for it.
I'm going to give you the best case scenario for Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
And if he is anything that this player is, I would be wowed. Okay. What if Jahmyr Gibbs is Christian McCaffrey?
Oh, I'm cool with it.
Right? You'd be very happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you would take him first overall in your fantasy league, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd be very happy. Christian McCaffrey's impact on winning in Carolina. Even when Cam Newton was still
but what happens when
reliable starting quarterback in the NFL?
What happened when he got to a team that had Super Bowl aspirations? He was.
This is perfect. This is our conversation. I'm getting to that.
Okay.
How was he with Carolina? Let's get that out of the way.
Productive.
What was his impact on Carolina's winning?
Productive. He was productive. Now, impact,
he was productive.
Impact,
his impact on winning.
Impact.
Limited. Very little.
But still had an impact. I mean, he was putting up 1,000.
But I mean, the team wasn't the greatest, right? I think that's fair to
as
say.
A team,
but
yes,
his
they weren't the
impact
greatest.
was very little.
Yeah, because the roster, yes, go on.
He goes to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Do the Lions have a roster like San Francisco?
No, but they're trying to get there.
They're trying to get there, but they're not there
course.
yet. They don't have an all-pro at every single position like the San Francisco 49ers
No, of course, not now.
So when we used Christian McCaffrey last year as an example, a guy that walked in and they just kept winning and made their offense way more dynamic, Brock Purdy was winning games, da-da-da-da-da. That is a scenario and a team I've never seen in my lifetime. I've never seen a team have all-pro players at every offensive position and almost every defensive position. That's Madden stuff. That's not normal. So if the Lions get there one day, holy hell, I'll be on cloud 9. But even the McCaffrey example needs an all-pro team to even justify it. Was Elijah Mitchell, when healthy, not explosive in that offense?
Yeah,
was Trey Sermon, when asked to carry the ball?
None of those guys are Christian McCaffrey, though.
None of them are Christian McCaffrey. By far better, yeah. But all of them were productive.
Not like Christian McCaffrey, but yes.
Not like Christian McCaffrey. Yes, I will agree. Dynamic out of the backfield, catching the ball. Yes. But they were uber productive in that same team. And that's where I think people are getting frustrated is first-round running backs in the last 20 years averaged 4.4 yards a carry in their career. Mm-hmm. The league average in rounds 2 and on in those same 20 years, 4.2. What's the difference? Now, again, you can point to McCaffrey, Kamara, some of the fucking best running backs in the league, and you make your point, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And I think Gibbs is going to be a good player.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched Jamal break Barry's record last year.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
Jamal can do it.
I'm still mad about that, by the way.
Jahmyr Gibbs will be fine. But
I'm still mad about that, by the way. Should a quarterback sneak 7 of those touchdowns, but anyways.
But that's where I'm coming from, too, because I get your point about the 49ers being stacked, but if the Lions, with that offensive line...
My argument is when people get upset with the GM, who, by the way, hasn't won anything yet, and I think he's building a very good football team, but when people are so quick to defend a GM who made the decisions he made, and it goes against tradition, why can't people raise their hand and ask questions? I'm not saying to kill Brad Holmes. Not at all. Gabby?
I'm not raising my hand to ask a question. I'm raising my hand to let you know that there's been some breaking news from Adam Schefter.
Oh, goodness.
Former Packers wide receiver Randall Cobb is expected to agree to a 1-year deal with the New York Jets.
Hey, the New
allowing
York
him
Packers.
to play
Must be
with
nice.
Aaron Rodgers.
What a joke.
Yeah,
It's going to fall flat on his face, man. It's not going to work.
Hey.
And I love the media examples of, man, Tom Brady was re-energized when he went to Tampa Bay. Aaron's going to be re-energized going to New York.
I hate that.
They're two different type of leaders.
Two different conferences. Bring that up, too.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Robert, I really wish you the best of luck, man. God help you. Randall Cobb.
Yeah,
Randall
Jets,
Cobb. All right. We'll take a break.
You got the Dolphins and the Bills in your division, Aaron.
Oh, God. We'll take a break. When we get back, I want to take some calls, and then I want to get to Jared Goff at the top of the hour. So for the next 9 minutes, we'll do callers. Call in, give us your feedback on the top 10 NFC rankings or the conversation we're having about positional value and what Brad Holmes has done so far with the Lions. All that and more. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast is The S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. If you are watching at woodwardsports.com, thanks for checking out the website. Check out our shop as well. Get yourself a t-shirt. And if you're listening after the fact, wherever you listen to your podcast, please download and leave a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, stop what you're doing right now, like and subscribe.
All right, the phone lines are open, 313-552-6322. JB, let's not waste any time. Let's go to the people. What do we got?
All right, I will send you guys Lucas.
All right, Lucas, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
How are we doing, my fellas?
Oh, God.
Lucas, what's going on, my boy?
Okay, so this is more of an open-ended question. I want to get your guys' opinion on it. So, I have kind of fell in love with Jahmyr Gibbs pick. And the more I think about it, I think you could consider trading up for Jameson Williams 20 spots, who has injury concern, which is Jahmyr Gibbs' biggest thing. I think you could consider that more of a reach, going 12 with J-Mo and trading up for him than trading back for Jahmyr Gibbs. But I want to hear what you guys think about that.
I think if Jameson Williams isn't suspended, that's not a conversation or a question you'd ask, and I think that's the problem, is at the time, trading up 20 spots for arguably the best wide receiving prospect to come out of that draft class, I don't think raised any red flags.
Right.
Now that he's obviously missed the first part of his rookie season, and you're going into second year, he's going to miss 6 games. That's not ideal. I don't think that's entirely fair to answer your question, Lucas.
But so then this is my kind of, because I was agreeing with that, but then going back to kind of Jeff's whole thing with Gibbs, is he can honestly give you a lot of the work out of the receiving game. So in the first 2 months of his career, we're already going to see more production strictly in the receiving game than a lot of these first-round wide receivers. Like JSN, he's the third receiver in that offense, and we're getting a running back who can play wide receiver and also be our running back.
Yeah, Lucas, and I think Jeff
him.
will agree. I think me and Jeff both think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a very productive football player on this team. I don't think you can discount the evidence over the last 20 years that suggests drafting a running back is basically playing Russian roulette. And 5 out of the 6 times you pull the trigger, you're probably going to kill yourself.
Hey, I'll take those odds.
I know you will. That's the problem.
Good. I just want to hear what you guys
No, and Lucas,
I just want to hear what you guys talk.
Lucas, before you go, I want to bring that up too, because what you just said about JSN and the receiver, just the class this year. What if there, and even Brad Holmes, and again, this is something that I feel like he more so thought drafting Jahmyr Gibbs. Honestly, Jahmyr had to have been high on his draft board. He must, obviously they love Jahmyr. But what if looked at the wide receiver class and thought to himself, not really in love with any of these guys. Now, you got Jahmyr, who plays snaps at wide receiver. We know he's dynamic. We know he makes people miss. He's a running back as well. But what if he's thinking, okay, what he could do in the receiving game as well? Like, he might be a better overall talent than any of these guys. Like, there has to be part of that as well, right, Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, that's my whole thing, because kind of what you said, you look at this receiving class, and there wasn't really, like, a true fit. Like, you have JSN. I mean, I'm not denying how good of a player some is Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison, but none of these guys are really, like, plug-and-plays like the rest of these players in this draft for the Lions offense. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a plug-and-play, and that's why I think we calm down on the reach argument.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that you don't reach on the players you want. It's my biggest argument for any team. But when it comes to drafting a running back or a tight end or a linebacker as high as the Lions did, that's going to come with questioning. So I just think it's part of the game. Like you said, when they're productive and they're on the field and Laporta and Gibbs are making a pretty significant offensive impact, especially the first 6 games of the year, I think things are going to quiet down in this town.
Oh, absolutely.
Appreciate the call, Lucas.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
Well
You guys
done,
be
buddy.
safe. I'll be
Talk
there
soon. Talk soon. JB, let's go to the next caller. We got 4 minutes. I want to get to as many people as I can.
All right, I'll send you guys Mr. Detroit.
All right, Mr. Detroit, you're on the show. What do you got for us this morning, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks for taking the call. Appreciate it. I've been kind of talking with Jeff on Twitter the last few days just about the Gibbs pick, and I just want to put some more context to it and kind of where I'm at with it. So, first off, I'm super excited for Gibbs. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. I'm pretty much locked up with you, Adam. I think he's going to be great. I think he can have a big impact. I think we're going to love him. He's going to make our jaw hit the floor, all the above. Is the incremental lift of drafting him as opposed to holding on to Swift in his contract year going to be that substantial? I think we're in a situation where a lot of times you add a guy to the team because it's addition by subtraction. But in this case, I don't think subtracting Swift and adding Gibbs really takes us to that next level. So I kind of feel like we're floating in that same water that we were in. Now, people want to argue, well, Swift is hurt. Okay, well, let me give you some more context on that. Year 1, COVID. Year 2, Stafford's gone. New quarterback, probably new scheme, all the above. I think his entire career he was trying to be put into a box of being an RB1, but to me he was always going to be a swing back like we saw and what we want out of Jahmyr Gibbs. His body type says so, his speed says so, his durability says so. Now also remember, when we drafted Swift in the 2nd round, at the time that was considered a reach. Okay? And the only reason why it was considered a reach was because he's a running back, but the reason that we felt comfortable taking him is because his whole narrative in college was he never got hurt and he never fumbled the ball. Well, now you're getting rid of Swift and replacing him with a rookie with no NFL game contact, right? So you got to think about the injury bug there. And someone in Gibbs who's 20 pounds lighter than Swift. So was it really addition by subtraction, getting rid of Swift to replace him with Gibbs? Now, I think to counter that, it was a bit of a hedge on Goff and Hooker. Right? It's to say to Goff, here's some shiny new toys. Because honestly, guys, if you look at this offense, look at the roster, it's really not there. I mean, you got St. Brown, and with J-Mo being out, I think, Gibbs definitely addresses the receiver position. He actually led Alabama with 44 receptions the entire year. The second leading highest receiver was one of their receivers with 40 receptions, so he literally led the team in receptions. He's also used to a split backfield. He had about 150 carries. Second string running back had about 115, so we'll have to get used to that with David Montgomery. So I just feel like there's a situation where, yeah, Gibbs is going to be sick. He's going to be awesome to see. But is it really going to be that much of an incremental lift compared to Swift, who has a lot to prove? And I think bringing Montgomery in also hedges the whole situation with Swift in his injury bug, and that'll help him. So all in all, I'm excited for Gibbs. I personally would have gone somewhere in a different direction. I would have taken Carter, to be honest with you. I think that takes our team where we were and takes us a step up. I think now we're kind of where we were, honestly. And if things don't work out with all these shiny new toys for Goff, then they hedge their bet with Hooker, and these will be Hooker's toys in a few years, as weird as that sounded. So that's kind of like my scoop on everything. And
Well said,
if you guys
man.
follow suit there.
Well, first, I appreciate the call. And look, before I even answer or get into it, really well spoken. Well done, Mr. Detroit. I mean, my goodness. Even if people are going to rag you or not agree with you. Look, regarding Swift and Gibbs, addition by subtraction, I think contractually it makes more sense. This is a guy you're going to have for 4 years at minimum. And if he is a productive back and a swing back, like you said, to use your words, and he's a productive guy in the NFL, it's going to pay in dividends. Do I need Jamison Williams? Well, no, I don't. I had a top 5 offense last year without him, and Amon-Ra missed a few games, and Chark missed some games. To me, this offense is already steps ahead of most of the league because they don't rely on X-factor players. This is an offense that just moves the ball. Who's open? What's the scheme? What's the coverage? What are we going to do to counter
it? Can I
it?
push back on the whole offense?
Yeah, go for it.
I want to push back on the offense. Yeah. So the first half of the year, and it was 2 years in a row for Goff, where he played pretty poorly. I mean, below average quarterback in the NFL, you would say, the entire first half of both seasons, back to back. And in the second half of the season, think about the Jets game. That was second half. Yeah, we won. It goes in the narrative 8 out of 10, right? But we weren't scoring, nor were we running the ball very well. So I think the offensive line actually has a lot of work to do as well. We want to talk about how great they are. Well, where were those holes all year? I mean, we really struggled to run the ball in certain situations when Goff was really struggling. So I actually think the offense needs to be addressed. I don't think you can go out there and put Khalif Raymond and not have Jamison Williams and not have, potentially Swift if he gets hurt. So I like the fact they addressed the offense. In terms of the Campbell pick, I personally would have gone Nolan Smith. I think he's going to be the next Micah Parsons. He addresses the edge for us. He also addresses drop-back coverage and linebacker. So I personally would have gone Nolan Smith there. I don't hate the pick of Campbell, but let's be honest, too. Who's Campbell playing in the Big Ten day in and day out? I mean, who's his real
they're
competition?
legitimate concerns.
He had a great game for Silas.
I do think you can bring up these concerns with almost every player. To go back to Goff, and I have to go to break in a minute, but I want to get to Goff because we're going to segue literally into him. And this conversation is, this is a guy that in his last 10 games posted 5 games with a passer rating of over 110. Yes, you can point to the Jets game, but this was a guy that didn't turn the ball over for 9 consecutive weeks. And a guy that, yes, started the season slow, but slow how? I mean, he threw almost 12 touchdowns, but the problem was he was throwing too many interceptions. The guy was dishing the ball everywhere with Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds. It didn't matter. I think offensively, you make a good point about the offensive line. Something to prove there, but I think they're established enough to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then regarding Jack Campbell, I don't want to get into him yet. Maybe second hour, if you want to dial a call back, we can get into Jack Campbell. But I appreciate the call, Mr. Detroit. Well done, buddy.
Thanks so much. Look forward to talking with you guys in the future.
Take care.
Yeah,
Take
appreciate
care.
you.
All right, we'll take a break. When we get back, do you believe in Jared Goff? I mean, this is the perfect segue. And this is actually the problem. And this is why I literally have this at the top of the hour. Do you believe in Jared Goff? I hear a lot of talk about Hendon Hooker. He's the option. He's the future. I hear a lot about Jared Goff. Is good enough? Not good enough? Let's have the conversation next. But before we do, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in any Lady Jane's and get your haircut and instantly qualify for your chance to win not 1 but 2 cars of your choice from our good friends over at Chevrolet. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. Let me get through this break. Oh my goodness. You're going to get... Jesus Christ, I can't breathe. All right, let's try this again.
2 cars. 1 for you, 1 for a friend.
I know I can't talk.
If you just go into a Lady Jane's, you get a haircut, you are automatically entered. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Go into any
Gabby's got
location near you today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks for calling in. If you did, we're going to get to more callers later in the show. If you're watching on woodwardsports.com, thanks so much for checking out the website. Be sure to poke around, see all the things that we got going on. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're listening via podcast, download and leave us a 5-star review.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. Jeff, let's do it. Do you believe in Jared Goff? And our last caller alluded to this and, concerns about how Goff was playing. But look, guys, I am a simple man. I'm not, your standard gold digger. I'm not here demanding Super Bowls, millions of dollars. No. I talk about a franchise, and I support a franchise that in its lifetime has only won one playoff game, has only ever been to one NFC title game, and has never been to a Super Bowl. That's the team I talk about on a daily basis. That's the team that I grew up with. So I don't have these lofty standards like everybody else of, well, are the Lions going to win the Super Bowl with Jared Goff? Boy, there's a lot of good quarterbacks I know in the NFL right now that haven't won a Super Bowl. Well, there's a lot of good quarterbacks I've seen in my lifetime that haven't won a Super Bowl, let alone even get there. But hey, history doesn't matter, does it? Well, let's go back. Since 2010, here are the quarterbacks that have started in the NFC Championship games. And I'm going to use the NFC as the example here, and then we'll get to the AFC, but the NFC because it has always been a conference of parity when it comes to quarterbacks that can have success. In the last 14 years, there have been a total of 28 possible starting quarterbacks in the conference championship games. The NFC has had 18 of them. Drew Brees, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jay Cutler, Eli Manning, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, Carson Palmer, Matt Ryan, Case Keenum, Nick Foles, Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, and Jalen Hurts. Now, how many of those quarterbacks are Super Bowl winning quarterbacks? Well, Drew Brees, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford. Those are the names that have won the Super Bowl.
Pretty good quarterbacks.
But let's talk about the other quarterbacks that have been to an NFC Championship game. And for those of you that don't understand, because clearly you weren't fucking alive the last time the Lions were in an NFC Championship game, God forbid, that's a pretty big deal around here. Getting to an NFC Championship game most years means you're one of the 2-3 best teams in your conference.
Yep.
And you deserve to be there. There have been some runs. I can go to the AFC side over the last 15 years and say Mark Sanchez has been to 2. I have no fucking idea how, but damn it, here, the Jets figured it out at least twice.
Blake Bortles?
With Mark Sanchez and Blake Bortles. But look at this list. And look at the quarterback, by the way, on this list. And I know you'll point to the team and the coach, which is my point. But Jimmy Garoppolo has been to 3 NFC title games. More than Drew Brees, more than Jay Cutler, Eli Manning, more than Russell Wilson. More than Matthew Stafford. More than Jalen Hurts has so far. And obviously you expect Jalen Hurts to get to way more. He's very young, but history tells me I don't need the guy. And this isn't a Jared Goff debate about him being the guy. He's not. Is Jared Goff Joe Burrow?
No.
Is he Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Is he Jalen Hurts?
No.
Is he Matthew Stafford?
No.
Is he Peyton Manning?
No.
Is he, I don't know, Big Ben? Josh Allen?
No.
Trevor Lawrence? No? So why am I going to put him in that box and evaluate him there? That's not what you do. I have a league that in the last 13, 14 years has seen Case Keenum, Nick Foles, Jared Goff being one of them, Jimmy Garoppolo 3 times, Matt Ryan, Carson Palmer, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick twice for God's sake, Alex Smith, and Jay fucking Cutler get to the NFC title game. Boy, that would be nice, right? Lions in the NFC title game, we'd all get litty titty. I wouldn't even be able to wake up the next morning how fucked up I would get. That's all I want. I want to be in a position to win meaningful football games. If we win a Super Bowl, hey, let's go. But when you're the only franchise in the NFC to never win an NFC title game, let alone the only franchise never to get to more than one NFC title game in the NFC in its history, that's a problem. So how about we start with the ABC steps? How about you win your division first? Huh? How about you win a playoff game? Then we talk about Super Bowl aspirations.
Playoffs.
And then if you get to the divisional round, or God forbid, you are one of the best teams in football and you have a bye week and you get to the divisional round and Jared Goff just throws it all away, I'm willing to have that conversation when the time comes. But can we get a division title? I haven't seen one. Lions have never won the North. Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers have more NFC North titles than the Lions. Can I get a division title first before we talk about the Super Bowl? Can I host a playoff game at Ford Field, which was built in, 2002? And they've never hosted a playoff game there? Can I win a playoff game? Hasn't been done since 91? One playoff game you've won in your entire franchise history? You want to talk to me about Super Bowls? Huh? Let's go to the AFC. In that same 14-year span, and this is why the parity matters in the NFC, is Patrick Mahomes is responsible for 5 of them. Tom Brady, 8. Peyton Manning, 3. Josh Allen's been to 1. Big Ben, 2. Joe Flacco, 2. Mark Sanchez, 2. Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, and Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, 2 on that list as well. The AFC, not so... how do I say this? Even out. It doesn't even out as much. But they had Tom Brady and Mahomes account for 13 of the possible 28 quarterbacks that could start in those years. That's kind of a big deal. Add Peyton Manning, that's another 3. Big Ben, another 2. Flacco, Super Bowl winning quarterback, that's another 2. All right, there's your whole damn list. And then you have the outliers, the Blake Bortles, the Mark Sanchez. The Ryan Tannehill got to a goddamn AFC championship game. So yeah, if Case Keenum and Ryan Tannehill and all these guys can get to the title games, I'm pretty sure Jared Goff is fucking capable of doing it.
Yeah.
So the next time we want to talk about Jared Goff and how much money he should make, or this, or is he the guy? He's not the guy. He's not. Accept it. He's not. Accept that your wife isn't a Victoria's Secret model. Tough shit, dude. She'll never be one. And it's okay. Find different ways to love her. She doesn't have to be one. I'm not saying she has to be one.
That was deep.
But you don't have a Victoria's Secret model. Sorry. Get off fucking TikTok and Instagram. Stop looking.
Yeah.
If you hate it so much, figure your shit out where you can get one or live with the one you have right now.
Yeah.
And right now, the quarterback or the Victoria's Secret model that you have right now is good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough to win divisions. It's good enough to win playoff games. It's good enough to get into an NFC championship game. And if you can't, that's a reflection of this roster and coaching, and more so coaching, because I think we all believe in the roster. So do we believe in Jared Goff? You can throw that in the poll if you want. Jeff?
So, a couple things, and I agree with most of what you said. I think it's fair to say Jared, based on what he's done early in his career, that to say that Jared can't win your division, can't win a playoff game is stupid. He's done that multiple times. But the question is, do you believe in Jared Goff? My answer would be, I do. I believe in Jared Goff at $30 million. That's why I believe in Jared Goff. Because if you want to go through quarterbacks that have made NFC championship games, context is important. I would like to know how much each of those quarterbacks were getting paid, how much they were getting paid. Because even you go back to Jared Goff, when he made that Super Bowl in L.A., he was on a rookie contract. So you see where I'm going here. It's Jared Goff at $30 million. I don't have an issue with it. I know people would come out and say it's too much money for $30 million. I don't think so, especially with what quarterbacks are being paid now. It's getting cheaper and cheaper looking at all these other quarterbacks. But Jared's due in 2 years. And this is something, and you brought up, can we just win a playoff game? Can we just win a division before we even discuss a Super Bowl? Now, the problem I have with that is the teams that make runs, and in the NFL, this happens often, right? It's a league where you can go from last or from worst to first. That's why it's a saying in the NFL, because in the NFL, you can turn things around much quicker. Now, do teams that make runs, a team that makes an NFC title game, an anomaly, or makes an AFC title game, do they ever think to themselves, can we just win a playoff game first? Can we just win a division first? Hell no. They just go out there and it happens. You make an NFC title game. So I get what you're saying, but we have to start preparing for the Lions here. Like, they're trending upwards. And the whole conversation about, winning a division or winning a playoff game, that's going to come sooner than later. So this conversation about believing in Goff, right now, I think everyone's on board. Jared Goff's good enough. But once that contract is coming towards the due date, and you're going to have to re-up,
deal with it then.
Of course. But it's a dangerous game you're playing, though, with Jared Goff to... And this is why I made an argument this year to draft a quarterback now. There wasn't anybody available at 6 I would take, but at least next year, you're going to have to start thinking about this, because if I'm Jared Goff, you're damn right I'm going to ask for more than Daniel, more than a lot of what these quarterbacks are getting paid, way more than Geno Smith. I'm sorry. He's better than Geno Smith. Should the Lions give him that, I would say no. I still believe that. No, I don't want to pay Jared Goff $45 million. But again, the whole
Jared
conversation...
Goff goes out and wins a playoff game, wins the NFC North this year.
Yes.
Gets you to the divisional round, and you lose to, let's say, Philadelphia. Worthy of a 3-year extension. And he throws for 4,200 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
That's a 2.8 to 1 touchdown interception
good,
ratio.
But let's be, Dak Prescott. We talk about Dak, right? You don't like Dak, but Dak statistically, he's had great seasons. But we would agree.
Well, here's the difference.
I'm not paying Dak what he's getting paid.
Dak got overpaid. And that's been his biggest problem, is they paid him at the time $40 million when quarterbacks were getting 30, 32, 34. That's the problem with Dak. But Dallas have won division titles. I can't say shit about that. They've won playoff games. Can't say anything about that. You don't get to call yourself a Super Bowl contender just because you like your draft picks and free agency signings, or that you like the roster. And I'm sorry, this was still a 1-6 football team last year, and an 8-2 football team also. Very Jekyll and Hyde. So whether or not I'm going to see the first part of the season or the last, I like to believe it's the latter, is to be determined. But we'll take a break. We have to go to break. When we get back, let's continue the Goff conversation.
Yeah,
I don't think you're done.
No.
I want to continue on with that, and then we'll get to more callers, and then we'll get to the Tigers later on. But before we go, Gabby, our good friends over at Cintron.
Yeah, Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. And right now, you can get a variety pack to try out Cintron. They're different flavors, classic free, and cranberry, just for $15, plus free shipping at drinkcintron.com/Woodward. That's drinkcintron.com/Woodward.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we shot.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Ulta, because at Ulta, uptime matters. If you need any job to get done, Ulta has you covered. You call them, 844-GO-TO-ULTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ULTA today.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com as always. Make sure you like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're missing the show live, well, damn it, you can always go back after the fact, download the podcast, listen to Jeff's ugly voice, and leave him a 5-star review because you feel bad for him. I think that's a fair request, no?
Please.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move on.
Especially on those older episodes when he was coming out of surgery.
Oh, yeah, sounded like he had a...
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit
yeah.
the Frog.
Yeah.
Patrick
That's
Mahomes.
what I was going to say.
Yes.
No, don't. Yeah, thank you. I'll take the PG
Quote,
version.
shows up on a Monday morning and says, I've got white stuff stuck in the back of my throat, and expects me not to say anything about it.
Well, asked you not to say anything about it.
I literally
and then
told you
proceeded.
during the break. Yeah.
You said it in front of a microphone. It got logged in my head. It's on the show. Sorry.
Yeah, it's messed up.
All right, look, I want to continue the Jared Goff conversation. I don't think you had enough time to wrap up your point.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you this. I think we agree for the most part on Goff, expectations of winning first, and then we'll talk money. I gave you the scenario.
Yes.
He delivers. Do you extend him? Or do you look your team in the face and you say, hey, the division-winning quarterback that won us a playoff game and performed well, not like a scrub, performed well, we're going to move on from him. We're going to cut him, save $25 million, start the rookie quarterback that's never played a game in the NFL.
Right.
And we're going to upgrade our roster even more. How? I don't know yet, but
so
theoretically. What's the move here?
Here's the problem that Brad has right now, and I'm curious how he handles it, because you've seen Dave Burkett report that, there's been dialogue, which I love, by the way. Dialogue is the best thing, because you can use dialogue in any way. Me and Adam have dialogue every morning. I don't know.
Careful.
I don't know how much. Okay, relax. Bro.
Dialogue.
But still, the word dialogue is so vague. So again, I don't know how true that is. But to speak on Jared Goff, Brad's going to have, because again, more guys are getting paid. Herbert hasn't gotten paid. Burrow hasn't gotten paid. As more quarterbacks get paid, like Fat Joe always says, yesterday's price is not today's price. So Jared Goff's price, that we assume $40 million, $45 million, that's going to continue to go up.
Would you rather pay for a winning quarterback or pay him early and he doesn't win?
So that is the question I was getting to, because that's the question Brad's going to have to ask is, do you extend Goff now? Or do you, like I would agree, wait for him to play out this season, see what kind of success not only Goff has individually, but the Lions have as a team, and also you get to see what Hendon Hooker looks like in practice. Because that's a big thing with, again, and I'm not comparing Hendon specifically to Mahomes, but just to use him as an example, the whole reason why Andy Reid was even more confident in starting Mahomes after that 1 year is, this guy's clearly
a first-round pick too.
Well,
and they traded up 12 spots to get him.
I'm talking about just a player, a quarterback. You're looking at him playing in practice. He's playing well. Damn, he looks better. He can do things Jared can't do. If Hendon can display that, and you like what you see in Hendon Hooker, in my opinion, if you have a great team around Hendon. Because again, would you agree Jared Goff is somebody you can win with, not win because of?
Yeah, and there's only ever 5, 6, 7 guys in the league at one given season that are that guy.
Yeah, of course, I would agree, 100%. So if we're saying that, could I argue that swapping Goff out, depending on now, if Goff plays out and wins MVP, this whole thing is diminished.
And what if Hendon Hooker is no better than Jared Goff and his peak is Jared Goff?
Then we'll figure that out, and then that will be factored into the conversation.
And also, he's getting paid third-round money, so I'll take that twice on Sunday, every day of the week. So, if that's the scenario, I'm cool with it. If he can just be Jared Goff, who's more mobile, getting paid a third-round contract money, sign me up. I'm cool with that. Now, there is a risk, and that's why you have to allow this year to kind of play out, because you'll get to see more of Hendon, you'll get to see Jared, and if Jared balls out this year, and you got it, and you don't have a backup plan for quarterback. You have Hendon, but you're like, I don't know if he's ready to start. Then you're most likely going to have to pay Goff. And this is why I advocated so hard, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But to get a quarterback this year is because you're essentially handcuffed in a way, because I know the Chiefs traded up, what was it, like 10 spots or so to go get Mahomes, and those happen, but more often than not, it does not happen. Like, it's hard to trade up. If the Lions win a lot of games this year and you're picking in the 20s, imagine what the 49ers gave up to move up 10 spots. They moved up from, 13 to 3. If you want to move up from 24 to 10, good effing luck. Like, so the Lions essentially might be handcuffed, and in that way, you might need to extend Goff. So I don't have the answers, but all I know is I'm not extending Goff right now. I'm willing to wait, because then at least you're not tied up into a quarterback.
If your argument is you're not going to extend
him
him now, I'm going to agree with you, because they have to go out and accomplish something before you even get to the table, in my opinion.
But your argument, essentially, because you're saying basically, what if Hendon Hooker, you want to start him in the next year or so, and he's just bad, or whatever the conversation was. And my response
you believe
to that
Hendon
would be,
Hooker is the future,
you have a year to evaluate him in practice.
No. I don't hold back on this stuff.
Okay, go on.
If you believe Hendon Hooker is the future, and I'm talking internally at Allen Park, not you. If they believe he's the guy, Jared Goff should start this season and immediately get cut. The following season, and you save $25 million, and Hendon Hooker should be the starter.
But it's too early to be able to tell that.
Well, they're going to have all year while he rests and sits behind Goff to figure that out. That's the point.
But to his point with the conversation, it was evaluating whether or not you have the start of the conversation now and try and have a decision now going into the season with Goff, or you wait and his value potentially goes up and all those around him
I don't think
up.
they're going to give Goff any money in the next 3, 4, 5 months. I just doubt it. I doubt it.
Would you agree that is a risk in a way, as more quarterbacks are getting paid?
Yeah, you can't pay him early.
So,
especially if you believe Hooker can be a guy.
And even right now, on May 3rd, I'm not paying Goff. I think the max I would pay Goff if he wants a short term, because again, it'd have to be a short term extension. I think you would agree with that too. Maybe a 2-year deal. That's what I would give Goff. 2 years, until you figure out who you're getting behind Goff. Until then,
again,
I'm not
think
paying
we're getting
Goff
ahead of ourselves.
I'll tell you
why.
Okay, go on, because I'll answer that.
We go to the Kansas City example, dude.
Okay.
All the time. You kept sticking with Alex Smith, even though you know he wasn't the best, wasn't the greatest option. You knew it was because of the roster. You knew it was because of Andy Reid. But you stuck with it because you were winning. You were winning division titles. You were getting to the playoffs. You were winning playoff games. How about we start there? And again, if you think Hendon Hooker, after 1 year of sitting, and only they'll know inside of Allen Park, because we're probably not going to see him play this year.
Right.
If they strongly believe this guy can be the guy, they're not going to offer Jared. And I think by November, if a deal's not done, there's a lot of ways you can read into that. But for me, if the Lions start off 6-2, 9-4,
and he's playing well,
and he's playing really well, good luck. Good luck looking your fan base in the face and saying, "Hey guys, we trust Hendon Hooker. We're gonna let Jared walk."
But here's the kicker, though. What if you see what Jared's doing and you're like, you know what?
That's my point. If you think Hendon Hooker can do
that,
it, be my guest.
Right.
I'm with you. Go.
Because essentially,
I just don't think that's their intention.
No.
I think the intention in Allen Park was Hendon Hooker's coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah.
We're gonna let him rehab. He's gonna sit a year. And we're probably going to extend Goff and have an out after a year or two.
We'll go back to Brad Holmes' press conference. He even said after the fact, when Hooker was brought up, he said, look, this is a great situation for us and for him, and he can take his time, heal the right way, and then we can see what happens. They are clearly not putting any pressure on him in this situation.
And you know what he said, too, about Hendon Hooker? High upside. You don't just say that. Like, they see something in Hendon Hooker.
Well, I'd hope so. That's why they took him.
No, but the conversation of like, oh, well, what if you start Hendon and you go backwards? No, I don't give a damn. Like, the Lions are going to be able to evaluate him. Like, the Chiefs had the same risk with Mahomes. They were winning playoff games.
Two different things, though.
But I'm just saying, I'm trying to compare it linear, not where they were drafted. The risk of starting a rookie with
the point, though.
I know, but I'm again, if we
I
want to
think
go,
this is the equivalent.
If we want to go off first round picks,
Dak. I'll use Dak as an example, and you tell me if that's fair. Because Tony Romo went down early in the year, and Dak just went in and started winning.
And he
what if
never
Jared
lost
Goff,
the job.
Let's say they're 5-2. Jared Goff goes down. Hendon Hooker's healthy by then. He's ready to go in. He goes in. They win 4 straight games. Goff's ready to come back. But Hendon Hooker looks really good. You're going to have a Tony Romo, Dak Prescott situation on your hand.
Yes.
Now, that's not to say Hooker can be as good or not better than Dak. But to me, that's the situation they have. I think they have a guy they believe they can win with in Goff. and they're not going to move off of it unless Hendon Hooker wows them behind the scenes or on the field if he gets a chance to play.
Yeah, and again, you're not going to see him this year. And the reason why I say I don't give a damn about everyone saying, well, what if you go backwards? That's on Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and that coaching staff. Their job is to develop Hendon Hooker. Their job is to evaluate him. Their job is to know if he's ready or not. So I'm not going to sit up here and play the what-if game. Like, I don't want to start Hendon and we go backwards. Like, the Chiefs, and again, or we'll say the Cowboys. The reason why I'm saying the Chiefs, and if we're being real, Hendon, he was in the 3rd round, but if he was healthy, he'd be a first-round pick. So if we want to do that, we can do that. But what I'm saying is every team, you have to take that risk too. Like even the Eagles, when they moved on and had Jalen Hurts as their starting quarterback, you think they knew he'd make a Super Bowl? No. You have to just find out, and you have to trust your evaluation. If the Lions coaching staff, they look at Hendon, and they're like, hey, we might have got something in Hendon Hooker, then you're damn straight.
I find it hard to compare the prospect with Mahomes. I'm sorry. I keep harping on it.
You take out Mahomes. Hurts, Prescott. We'll go with those two. They're not first-round picks.
Because with the problem I have with Mahomes, and I see people in the chat even comparing him. Mahomes threw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns at Texas Tech. Yeah. Like, it's actually not even close. In terms of production and film that you had on Mahomes compared to Hooker.
Then take out that, because I know when you hear Mahomes, it like throws you off. Take out Mahomes.
Well, I'm not even thinking of Mahomes in the NFL. I'm just thinking Mahomes in college.
Okay, then go off Dak and Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen Hurts was in the Heisman convo.
I can live with it.
Hendon was in the Heisman convo.
I can live with it. Let's see what the people think, okay? We'll take calls next. 313-552-6322. Do you believe in Jared Goff? What side are you on? Are you on the side of pay him early, wait and see, get the result, and then pay him, or get the result and let's see what Hendon Hooker is? I'd love to hear it. We'll take the calls. JB, get them ready when we get back. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Let me tell you about them, guys. Defense. We know the Lions had to address it this year, but I got a defense for you. They're always here to help you. It's Guardian Alarm. Call them 1-800-STAY-OUT. They got 24/7 professional monitoring. You can call them anytime, day or night. And know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you for as long as you need. Your safety and security deserves technology that's not only been proven to work, but by people that have been proven to care. Again, call 1-800-STAY-OUT. Tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Let me tell you about my good friends over at Custom Health Centers, guys. It's low sex drive, unmotivated, too much belly fat, and you can't get rid of it. Well, Dr. Jason and his team over at Custom Health Centers will help you change your life and restore your vitality. Give them a call, 877-965-0910. They'll do it through their testosterone optimization therapy. That's 877-965-0910. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. As always, Adam Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, and Gabrielle D. Phillips.
2 for 2 today.
2 for 2. Listen, you know what? Every once in a while, I have a good day.
One step better every day.
I feel like I do better when I don't sleep, by the way. I think I'm more locked in. I think Jeff believes the same thing. But here we are. We threw a poll in the chat. Do you believe in Jared Goff? Should the Lions extend Jared Goff? 64% of you have said yes so far. The other 36% have said no. So we'll go to the callers. 313-552-6322. JB, who do we got?
I will send you guys Noah.
All right, Noah, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hey, Jeff, Adam. Morning, guys. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, man, first time getting on here. I was just calling. I kind of agree with both of you guys today, man. I think they should let Goff play out this season before they try to extend. And I think them drafting Hooker, I think they took him understanding that he is the backup plan to Jared Goff. I think they do believe in him. I think Hooker proved last year, the last 2 years at Tennessee. He doesn't turn the ball over. He would fit well in this system. We got deep threats. We got guys who can get open. If Goff is demanding that much money, I think they do have the ability to, come off Goff and basically place Hooker into the perfect situation and either maintain the offense at what it's already proven to be, a top 5 offense, or take it to the next level. I mean, just look at what Hooker did at Tennessee. Tennessee was a mediocre offense, and then Hooker gets there and turned Tennessee into an explosive SEC team. And like you said, outdueled Bryce Young and was putting up points in the SEC on those NFL-ready defenses, So I think they took Hooker understanding, hey, this is Goff's team. We're going to let him play out, and if he gets us to the NFC Championship or even just a playoff game in general, as Lions fans, that's what we want. We just want one right now, But I really think that they took Hooker with the understanding, like, hey, if Goff wants too much money or, kind of has that Jared Goff moment when we went 1-6, I think they're ready to roll with Hooker. Let him sit this year and give him the reins next year. Yeah. What do you guys think?
No, I think you're spot on. I think for the Lions to get Hooker in the 3rd round especially, I mean, they couldn't deny that. I mean, he's one of the better quarterbacks coming out already. So, again, agree with a lot of your points. I don't think drafting Hendon just automatically means that Jared Goff is no longer a Lion in the next couple of years. I don't think that necessarily. Now, Jared, it's up to Jared and how well he plays this year, because he could play himself out of Detroit easily. So I'm with you, Noah. But the important part is they just took a quarterback, finally, just to have some competition behind Jared Goff, because Brad understands negotiations are coming up. I mean, this is why you're spot on, because Brad understands we're going to have to negotiate some things with Goff soon. So if things go south, at least you have a backup plan in Hendon Hooker, as before you just had Nate Sudfeld. You had no backup plan. You had no leverage. So at least the Lions just have leverage. But again, I agree with you. I mean, you took Hendon Hooker. Now, does it mean Jared Goff's no longer a Lion next year? No. But it definitely, improves competition behind Goff, which I'm all for. So I agree with you, Noah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate the call, Noah. Well done today, buddy.
Yeah, well done.
Welcome back anytime.
Yep. Appreciate it, guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. JB, let's go to the next caller. Who do we got on?
Jeff's favorite person is Terrell from FL.
You got this. So I'm going to take a break. You got this.
Terrell from FL. Terrell,
Good morning, boys. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Can't imagine what you're calling
Gabby,
about.
Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Oh, man, I got lots to say. You know how it goes, Jeff. First of all, I just wanted to say, fuck LeBron James. This is your daily reminder that he's not the GOAT. And one of these days, after the Tigers suck for a little bit and, basketball and hockey's over and it's a little slow, I'm going to call in one day and I'm going to break LeBron James' whole life down and explain to you why he's not the GOAT and he'll never be the GOAT. Okay? Number 2, fuck Jalen Carter. I'm so tired of people whining about Jalen Carter's bum ass. Oh, my God, bro. Can y'all just stop? How can you guys watch how this organization moves and watch Dan and Brad and think that in any universe, a dude that said, well, I could have worked harder is ever going to fit into our culture, bro? Stop whining about Jalen Carter. He's a bum. Fat, lazy, entitled child bum. Get out of here. Damn. Anyways, Adam, I got a question to ask you, sir.
I'm ready.
So that's what I get?
Are you there?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here, baby. I'm here. I love
That's
your
what
intro.
I get, Terrell?
All right.
You crap on LeBron, you crap on Jalen Carter? Is that okay?
Those were the 2 greatest points I've ever heard in my life.
Adam,
I've never agreed more with a caller. What's up, baby?
So let me ask you this. What do you think in general is more important to building a team? Leadership, work ethic, and cultural fit, or positional value?
I would answer the first part.
See?
I would answer
exactly. That's why
A.
Brad and Dan are moving like they're moving. So every time you guys, I understand you. I told you last week, I agree with your whole argument about positional value, but whenever you guys are wondering and you can't figure it out, that's why. It's because that's the way our organization moves.
Can I throw this at you then? Can I throw this at you? And I think you're going to agree. It's not an indictment on Brad Holmes, his front office, or anybody, I think, to bring up the questions of, hey, this doesn't work. Are we mindful of this? while saying, I think we all agree, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, day one starters on the offense. I think they're going to produce no problem at all, no?
Of course. You definitely have the right to question the pick, but at the end of the day, that's the answer.
Exactly.
It's all about cultural fit and leadership and attitude, so that's why those dudes got drafted. And the last thing I wanted to leave y'all with was with the Jared thing. Of course we're going to talk about it because that's what we do. We all love talking about this shit. But at the end of the day, nobody can make a judgment about Jared until after this season. And I'm a supporter of his. But if he goes out and shits the bed, I'm going to be right there behind y'all with the pitchfork and torches to get his ass out of town.
I agree.
But we got to wait until after this year, guys. Nobody can make a real determination about Jared until after this season.
I love it. I love the call. Way to go, Terrell. Appreciate the call, buddy. Welcome back anytime, as always.
Yep.
And you hear that about
Yes,
Jalen
sir.
Carter?
Oh,
Jeff?
don't worry. Terrell.
I'm going to the beach, Jeff. I'm going to the beach.
Terrell,
What?
I will get my revenge one day, Terrell. All right, for those comments you made earlier. But yeah, I appreciate you always, man.
Enjoy your
the
walk
man.
on the beach.
I'm gonna come up when I come to visit the fam.
You're
I'm
more
gonna stop
than
in there and
welcome.
say what's up to y'all.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, you have to.
Thank you.
After those comments.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
you,
I definitely will.
Appreciate you, Terrell. Have a good one, man.
I'll fight you over LeBron James, son. You don't want that, bro.
Oh, God. All right, let's
fellas.
take a break.
Later.
When we get back, I will give you a 6-minute tirade / rant, if you want to call it that, on what I think of the current Detroit Tigers. And I also want to reminisce a little bit because you know what? Sometimes when you're down in life, you just got to remember some of the good times you've had in your life. That way you don't, go over the edge. So, let's have that
Trip down memory
one-on-one
lane.
intervention. Yeah, absolutely. Trip down memory lane. Let's have that fun conversation right now coming up in a minute. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Let me tell you about him. Strawberry
Where
Fest
Jalen Carter is famous
is
for being, especially pre-draft workout.
Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. Try classic breakfast items like some strawberry hotcakes or mouth-watering red velvet waffles. If you're not feeling breakfast as well, you can try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with their refreshing summer splash salad, which Jalen Carter will be indulging in as he loses some weight. Don't forget to grab dessert, including their very delicious classic strawberry pie, deep fried vanilla Oreos, or strawberry hot fudge cake and more at Big Boy.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. Because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks so much for all the callers participating in the show today. If you're watching at woodwardsports.com, check out all of our articles. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you're listening after the fact, wherever you listen to your podcast, please download and leave a 5-star review.
All right, guys, let's have some fun this morning. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, breaking the hearts of many people in the city of Detroit yesterday, talking about the good old days, talking about, God rest his soul, Mike Ilitch, talking about Dave Dombrowski, Jim Leland, the crew they had, the team they had, the mentality that we all used to share about our baseball team here in Detroit. And, I had to take a trip down memory lane. Watching the David Ortiz Grand Slam to this day is a kick in the nuts. It makes me absolutely sick every time I see it. And I remember the days of watching good baseball, good hitting, quality pitching, pitchers that could get past the 4th fucking inning, for God's sake, a general manager that had the balls to make decisions, tough decisions, an owner that would go for it, deliver on his promises. Oh, the good old days. And now we have an owner that says we're 100% out of the rebuild. Thanks, Chris. You fooled me. You
fooled everybody.
You fooled me, man. Breaks my heart. Breaks my heart that such a great baseball team is now nothing more than a pile of manure with endless talk and hope of what they can and maybe be. Their number 1 overall pick batting sub 230, and us justifying it because he hasn't played 162 games yet. I am so upset for this town, especially baseball fans, that have to watch that shit and now see Max Scherzer and Verlander come back to town and just like remembering the days of Miggy's Triple Crown, Miggy winning an MVP, Verlander the year prior winning an MVP, and a Cy Young in the same year, having Scherzer, having Porcello, Verlander, Fister. I could go on and on with the arms you had on the starting rotation. The hitters. Where do we want to start, huh? Or the outfield, huh? You want to go to the outfield, defensive players, Austin Jackson. Hell, Curtis Granderson back in the day. Victor Martinez. You want to go to Polanco or Ordonez, or you want to go to the 2010s-ish era where it was Miggy, Torrey Hunter, Victor Martinez, and go on to Prince Fielder. Remember that splash move? Yeah, when the Tigers actually gave a fuck about baseball, right?
How do you
And
not?
now they don't. Now they care about making huge promises and not delivering. And that goes for both the city and the baseball team, because they're not doing any better within the city. And we don't even have to bring that up. So yeah, yesterday I watched Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer talk about their teams, and absolutely fucking broke my heart.
I saw your tweet too. I know it hurt you. It hurt a lot of people.
It broke my heart.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you are saying, well, Adam has a heart. Yeah, I do. I do. The Tigers never winning a World Series, one of the biggest shames in the last 2 decades of baseball. You talk about a team that deserved to end on a high note. Jim Leyland not getting that title in Detroit that he so deserved. Unfortunate. Unfortunate sports sometimes. That's why we play the game. But listening to Max and Justin talk yesterday brought a lot of good memories, but
also
a lot of pain and the realization that Chris isn't his father, and he doesn't need to be his father. It's not my business what he does with the team. It's his fucking team. Whatever. He wants to run it into the ground, be my guest. It's his problem, not mine. I'm not accountable for it. But it makes me really sad. Really sad.
And Brigham Funny says, WoodwardSports.com. Okay, Adam. Individual accolades are great. All those players were great. How many titles came out of it? 0.
I mean, how many pennants did they get? Was that not good enough? How many World Series did they make? 2. How many ALCSs did they play in? I mean, stop. You beat the Athletics. You beat the Yankees. You beat every fucking team in your way. But you couldn't beat the Giants.
Nope.
I was there for
Fucking Pablo Sandoval, son of a bitch.
I know he
What
still
a son of a bitch.
Still keeps you up at night. Stop Drooling says, WoodwardSports.com. Tigers can kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. The franchise cannot be taken seriously. Hoofhearted says, WoodwardSports.com. I love Verlander, but a few of those losses were directly on his shoulders.
What did this city ever do? Like, you know, we have the fucking Lions to deal with. And I'm talking like pre-Brad Holmes era. I mean, let's go back to 2012. Like, you are the most shit franchise in the NFL at the time. Like, Detroit's already got to deal with that. And then you got to deal with the realization that the Red Wings were coming to the end of an era.
And that was post.
And that the Pistons were going into a rebuild.
Yeah.
And all you had was the Tigers. And you get swept in 06 by the Cardinals. After all the magic in the ALCS. And then you get crushed by the Giants. Miggy, I just... breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. We'll take a break. When we get back, we'll get to Mailbag before I start crying on this goddamn show. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Yeah, let me tell you about them, guys. Swiss Insurance. Listen, we talk about the draft a lot, and I got a question. I mean, you like the draft picks? You like the GM? You like Brad Holmes? Be a boss. Take control of your own insurance options, just like Brad Holmes does through the 2023 draft. Draft a company that'll give you the most cost-effective plan and protect you like the Lions O-line and some of the better O-lines in the league. Email Swiss Insurance today, mark@swissins.com. I repeat, that's mark@swissins.com, or go to www.swissins.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. As always, Adam Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, and Gabrielle D. Phillips. If you missed the show live today, you can always go back after the fact, download the podcast, leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll start with Punch God. Mailbag, Adam, what Tigers team do you think was better, 12 or 06? Okay, look, in 2006, I was 12 years old. I was pretty of age, okay? 06 felt more like Magic, and 2012 felt like we were just the best fucking team in baseball, which, I mean, the Tigers were.
I like that difference.
So 06 was Magic and a good team, but that 2012 team, I mean, that was one of the best. You guys laugh about the rosters that the Braves or the Dodgers or the Mets and all the Yankees have been putting out. That 2012 roster stacks up with any team. I mean, that's such a heartbreak, man. Such a heartbreak. All right, what other questions do we have in here? Sure there were, but they lost in the first and second round after the president. Oh, wait. Are you talking about the Red Wings? We're not doing Red Wings talk right now. Leave me alone. All right?
It was a stretch just for the Tigers.
Red Wings gave you 3 decades of never missing the playoffs. I think they're out of the discussion for anything at this point.
Playoffs?
Man. Prince Fielder was such a disappointment. I swear to God, the hype, at least I felt, when that signing happened, that was like, holy shit. He's going to hit 50 home runs. Miggy's going to hit 50 home runs, and nobody is going to do shit about it. That's what it felt like, and it was never that.
Mailbag, are you going to dress up and drink a couple mint juleps on Saturday for the Kentucky Derby festivities?
I've never watched horse racing once in my life.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
I did think that was going to be out of your
And I don't think, even if I was
wheelhouse.
Wealthy, like fuck you rich, I don't think I would spend my time at the racetracks betting on stupid horses, let alone trying to raise one
I think
and
the
get it to
Kentucky
race.
Derby is like a bucket list experience.
I think it's the Met Gala of sports. I think it's a bunch of rich fucking white people that have nothing better to do than fucking raise a sporting horse and bet stupid amount of money on it. That's what I think of it. I think it's the Met Gala for fashion.
Okay, well, it's on my bucket list, so.
I'm sure it is.
A Dirty Burrito asks, on WoodwardSports.com mailbag, what are the chances Goff takes a team-friendly contract to stay in Detroit if he balls out? This town seems like we accepted him more than L.A.
I think he'd be open to it, depending on the guaranteed aspect of the money.
Yeah, and
I
again,
think he would take less for more guaranteed.
Yes.
But if he were to take more, but the Lions had an out after year 1 or 2, like the Saints had, or excuse me, the Raiders had with Carr, that's not the best deal. Who knows? Who knows? Adam, do you know where Ludington is? No. Gabby, do you?
Yes.
Of course you do. Jeff?
What was the question? Sorry.
Do you know where Ludington is?
Yes. I
Fuck
do.
you both.
I do.
Honestly.
Any
Is it in
guesses?
Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's...
Any guesses as to where in Michigan?
I'd imagine in the north.
I love it.
I have no idea. What do you want me to say?
I'd imagine in the north. I saw this question and I wanted to bring it up.
Go for it.
Kind of lost it already. 9 drinks. Thoughts on Sutton getting number 1? I mean, yeah, he should.
Jameson Williams hasn't earned a number on this team.
No, he hasn't, and he's suspended the first 6 games. So.
I'd make him wear number 93 or 99.
Yeah, I mean,
just to make him look like an idiot out there.
Todd asks, mail sack, does Jeff have a LeBron fat head above his bed?
No, but he has a LeBron dildo somewhere in his room.
I do not to both of those questions, JB. The damn Pornhub music? No, I do not. But I do have a LeBron jersey, of course. How do you
God.
not?
Mailbag, what would you rather have, Goff extension or Amon-Ra extension?
I'm actually curious to see what the Amon-Ra extension looks like because he's not a top 5. And I could make the case he's a top 12 receiver. 10 is a bit early just because of production, but he's been one of the more productive receivers in the NFL over the last 2 years. So he's been more productive than CeeDee Lamb. And we like to think he's a top 10 receiver. So I'm curious. I think Amon-Ra on the market goes for 5 years, $100 million, $92 million. You pay that position. I think you'll get money in the open market.
And it's tough because, again, we have essentially 1 year or 2, if you want to count the first year, of data with Goff. So to answer that question now, I would say at this moment, based on what I know.
Oh, what I would rather have? I mean, both can happen, though. You can afford both. And you can afford the Sewell contract. It just depends on Goff. If you're going to pay Goff an arm and a leg, no. I'd rather have St. Brown. But if it's a friendly deal, no, of course you can.
And we don't know
both.
at this point. So it's a tough question to ask, but I would agree with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got to get paid.
All right. Let's see. Is it true your co-host is part of QAnon? And he thinks water is turning frogs. What? The frog's gay. Lol. Second question. Other than Williams and May, who's your third best quarterback in the FBS? I think QAnon is that radical group. Am I right by saying that? Am I wrong?
Yes. No, you're right. I know what they are, but how does that apply? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. If I was part of any group, I mean, you guys should stereotype me right now. So I think you could put 1 and 2 together there. Just saying.
Okay, just relax.
I'm just saying.
At least you're honest.
At least, categorize me correctly and stereotype me if you're going to do it.
MMS asked, Mailbag, would you trade up for a first-round QB next year if Goff loses in the wild card?
No. Unless Brad Holmes sees a quarterback that is miles ahead of what Hendon Hooker has shown to be.
You already just took Hendon, so it'd have to depend on who it is.
All right, road trip for Woodward Sports. Yeah, where is Ludington? So I know. Where on the map?
Way, way, way west.
Lake Michigan?
On Lake Michigan, yeah.
Great. Adam got his pilot's license when he was 8. You damn right I did. Now we're talking about stereotyping. That's what I like to see, boys. Well done.
Big Show picks. Ask Gabby, what has been your favorite Detroit team the past 20 years, assuming at least 20? Assuming you're at least 20.
This is not a thing you need to even think about. I mean, isn't this an easy answer for you?
Your favorite team in your lifetime in Detroit?
Favorite? Well, we already know who my favorite team is.
Yeah, it's the Red Wings.
Yeah.
But any specific team, I guess? The years they were, I mean...
I would have to... It's not... I would have to say, the Russian 5 era of the Red Wings is my favorite.
Okay.
Hey, Jeff, when is the Pistons rebuild over? Well, hold on. Let me just let me phone a friend real quick. All right, let me just call somebody. Let me call Troy Weaver because he hasn't responded to any of my texts.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah, I know that.
I don't know. Hopefully, this is the last year where you're only going to win.
Yeah, hopefully,
20
I've
games.
been saying that for
next
years.
year. 35 to 40 wins. All right, that's the expectation. They can do it. They have money. I hate repeating this every year, but
every year.
The rebuild. If they win 20 games next year.
Bring back Jeremy Grant.
I think I'm going to
it.
lose my hair. No hair next year. And not because I'm shaving it, because I'll be so stressed out.
Bring back...
I can't do another 20-win season. I can't.
Bring back Jeremy Grant while you're at it, huh?
Here we go, the Jeremy Grant.
Flight simulators are a thing of beauty. I used to play Flight Simulator way back in the day.
Oh, I love that. Me too.
And I used to... we'll go to the next topic. What other...
Why you got to go there? I knew exactly
With cap
where
space
you're
still remaining, do you see the Lions trying to get it?
Jesus, man.
Yell.
You're not helping
before training camp.
No, I don't. I think they're pretty done. I do think they're done. Adam, give us your early assessment, of Gabby Bowden's performance on the morning show so far. I'm gonna give Gabby an A+. She's been excellent. No complaints. I think the only thing I don't like is that she completely ignores and belittles JB off camera. That's not nice.
Let's not start that rumor. Let's not.
Somebody's got to start a rumor every once in a while. Oh, God.
More rushing yards for Beydoun or more yards given up by Akuda? That's a great question.
Oh, yards given up by Akuda. He'll pull the Trayvon Diggs this year, give up 1,000. That's mean. And maybe more yards for Beydoun, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, it's a debate.
I'm just an asshole.
Mailbag, can Branch challenge for a starting spot?
Oh, absolutely. He'll be a day one player. Absolutely.
They'll utilize
and they'll
him.
be rotating him a ton.
Definitely. Yeah, because people, again, he's a Swiss Army knife. You can use him all over your secondary.
Give me your 3 most hated Detroit Pistons. You can't stand them ever.
Oh my gosh!
That you see them in a Piston uniform, you want to shove your fist down your throat.
Wow! They just put me on the spot.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, just sure. Give
Andre
me your list.
Drummond.
Okay.
No hesitation. Andre Drummond.
Well, he's in that list.
Allen Iverson, Blake Griffin.
Wow.
You did not have to think about that.
See.
Nope.
I'm a little different with some things because I know people generally would say Blake and Andre. I don't feel the same way. I don't feel that same hate. So, again, it's a little different, but that's fair. Killian Hayes, I see a lot in the comments, which I find hilarious because typically if you hate a player, it's because they did something. But if you hate Killian, it's just because he's...
No, I don't hate Killian
He's not
Hayes.
great.
He's played his way out of Detroit. I can accept that. I don't accept paying Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin.
Like,
what
Blake
we were
has
paying
at least said stuff after he was traded. Like, there's stuff you can bring up.
Yeah,
Andre...
Look, Blake, God bless him, played his ass off in Detroit. I don't hate him for how hard he played or even the level he played at. He played at a pretty decent level for a few years, but come on.
By the way,
I look at Blake Griffin. That's why I phrased it the way I did. When I see Blake, Drummond, and Allen Iverson, I just have bad things come to my head.
Oh, when
bad thoughts.
I would agree.
And I just want to vomit.
I would agree AI is up there for me. I mean, Darko's number one.
AI was the start of everything falling apart.
Yeah, because that was after that was
gave up
Chauncey departure. Yeah,
after
I
you
get
came
that.
out to a good start in the year.
Yeah,
and people were really confident about the team.
Josh Smith is also up there. Jesse, I see you in the comments.
Josh Smith, that motherfucker. He was so bad. Oh my God! What the hell is this face? Andre Villanueva, the guy who looks like a cancer patient. Oh my God!
Yeah, Charlie.
Oh my God! Charlie
no.
V.
Yeah,
no. Jonas Jerebko couldn't fucking stand. No, Austin Day, son of a bitch. Austin Day was the worst basketball player I've ever watched in my fucking life, and I've seen Stanley Johnson play on this team. All right, we gotta go. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed the last few minutes.
You know who I don't hate? Rasheed Wallace.
No, you're a good man. You're a good man.
Ending on a positive note, Jeff.
You gotta rub your chest more. You're doing a great job. We're out of here. Till tomorrow. You all have a great rest of your day. Big D Energy coming up at 11. Ermanni and Edwards at 2. And Heavyweights who will show their tits on the show at 5. We're out of here.